Hello all, welcome to Read to Share. Today's story is a traditional tales for boys, story 3. The Pied Piper of Hamelin. A long time ago there was a beautiful little town called Hamelin. The people of the town lived in peace and harmony for many years. Harvests were good and citizens prospered. There was music and dancing from dawn till dusk. But one day everything in Hamelin changed. Thousands and thousands of rats suddenly ran into the town. There were big rats and little rats, thin rats and fat rats. The plague of beasts scratched their way into houses and swarmed through the streets. By nightfall, not a single corner in Hamelin was untouched by the rats. The plague of rats drove the townspeople wild. "There are rats on my table," cried one man. "There are rats in my boots," shouted another. Woman ran from the kitchen in terror. Great black rats scurried into their store cupboards and swarmed over their food. Children cried and held each other. All the while, rats nibbled their playthings and tugged at their clothes. Night times were even worse. Bands of rats darted across the bedclothes and scratched on the floorboards all over town. "There are rats in my bed," sobbed one little girl. "There are rats on the roof," shrieked her brother. Hamelin was filled with the sound of gnawing and thousands of scuttling feet. The people put out traps and prayed for the rats to go away, but nothing worked. The citizens of Hamelin rushed out to find the mayor. "Get rid of these rats," shouted the crowd. The mayor held out his hands in despair. "What can I do?" he asked. "There are rats in my house too." A few days later, a stranger asked to see the mayor. The curious fellow was dressed from head to foot in red and yellow. He was carrying a fluted pipe. "I am the Pied Piper," he smiled. "I can make the rats go away if you pay me 1,000 silver coins." Even though he knew this was a small fortune, the mayor agreed. He would do anything to rid the town of this terrible plague of rats. "Don't forget your promise," warned the Pied Piper, sweeping out the door. The mayor watched from his window as the stranger walked across to the main square. Then the Pied Piper began to play a curious tune. Rats streamed out of the houses and shops, enchanted by the melody. The Pied Piper walked towards the river, still playing the strange tune on his pipe. The streets of Hamelin turned black with a torrent of deserting rats. The plague swept its way to the river bank. Rat after rat tumbled into the waters, never to be seen again. When every rat had perished, the Pied Piper returned for his payment. "I've nothing for you," declared the mayor. The foolish man sent the Pied Piper away without paying him a single penny. "Now I will play another tune," vowed the stranger, "and you will not be so happy with the result." The Pied Piper walked out onto the streets. He began to play a new refrain on his pipe. The melody was even more haunting than the last. In all the houses, in all the streets of Hamelin, the children stopped playing. One by one, they ran after the Pied Piper. The people called to their children to stop, but they didn't seem to hear. The children followed the Pied Piper through the town and over the river. The Pied Piper led the enchanted children towards a great mountain. Suddenly an entrance appeared in the rock. All the children of Hamelin skipped inside. The Pied Piper danced on, leading the children to a beautiful land blooming with trees and flowers. Only one little boy didn't disappear into the mountainside. The child had hurt his leg and could only hobble on crutches. He saw his friends go into the mountain, but he was too slow to follow them. The little boy made his way back to the town. The mayor ran up to him, his face filled with panic. My friends are inside a mountain with the Pied Piper, cried the boy. They will never come back. The townspeople stormed into the market square. Furious mothers and fathers pointed their fingers and shook their fists at the mayor. Where are our children? They demanded. The mayor hung his head in shame. You must find them, shouted the villagers. Bring our little ones back to us. The mayor fled to the town at once, ashamed by his greed. He spent years and years wandering the mountain trails, searching for the lost children of Hamelin. Even when he grew old and his clothes turned to rags, he never gave up on his quest. Some say that he is still out there, searching today. The end. Thank you for listening. Look for my next story.